Hey everyone, welcome to our session on data insights for multi-academy trusts. Today we're going to be talking about the multi-academy trust screens that are available within the new results analysis tool, Data Insights. I'm going to be using test data to share with you today, so nothing that you see will be confidential. We're going to talk about what is Data Insights, how does it look, and what next, how to get into it. So what is Data Insights for multi-academy trusts? Data Insights is AQA's new results analysis platform, and it replaces the old Centre Services Enhanced Results Analysis tool, the old ERA tool, as well as replacing the MAP Power BI dashboard that we used previously. We've brought everybody together to use the same service now, which will be really useful in ensuring that we're all working from the same data displays and understanding. It's an upgraded system that has significantly more capacity for growth and development. And it uses a really wide range of visual data to support understanding and analysis. We've also worked with customers in developing the system, seeking advice on how it is that you use specific data sets, and then building our system to support that analysis and make that work for you as best as we can. We've also improved the speed of the system, which should make for better usage going forwards for everyone. So why use Data Insights? What are the benefits? Whether you're looking to align all your schools to a particular qualification or specifications, or you just want to understand how your schools are performing within your trust, Data Insights can do the whole lot. So it goes from macro all the way down to micro level information. So you'll be able to see high level trends at a glance or drill down into individual schools and students for a more tailored analysis and interventions. Starting at an overview level where you can view subjects as a whole, you can then subsequently navigate down through the layers all the way to individual centres and question level data. We've improved the performance of our enhanced results analysis tools, moving from the old ERA to the new Data Insights, and we don't intend to slow down in that area. Tying in with scalability, we're harnessing the full power of Microsoft's Azure platforms to bring our data to you faster than ever. The platform will scale and evolve over time, and our ambition is to make data analytics available to everyone, allowing more people to access and interpret data and gain meaningful insight. When reviewing single centre data, you'll be able to compare against a data set called similar centres. There's also going to be similar region and similar classification, but similar centres is quite new. Similar centres displays an average of centres that are considered to be like your chosen centre. It's intended to be an informative indicator as opposed to a hard performance metric. But there are several ways that it can be calculated, which is based on the availability of the centre's data. So it could be calculated by classification, by region, by country, by the centres, similar scores based on things like a percentage of pupil premium, percentage of free school meals, percentage of English as an additional language, percentage of special educational needs, gender mix, age range, pupil number, or admissions policy. It's a really broad calculation that really narrows down to make sure that that similar centres really is true to what it says. We've also refined our reporting capabilities because it's all about showing you the data in as clear a way as we know how, so that you can use it to improve your teaching and learning outcomes. So how do we get started? Well, firstly, a member of the Multi-Academy Trust Senior Leadership Team must email into AQA from a MAT email address. So this must be an email address that contains a MAT domain, but it also should contain the name of the senior leader who is sending the email. So, for example, Kay Namerson from Test Academy Trust might be knamerson@tatrust.co.uk. They must also state their name and their role in the email. This is then going to be verified by a call from our customer support team. Due to the significant amount of data that is going to be allowed to be viewed once you're inside the Multi-Academy Trust screens, we need to be sure that we're sharing that data with the right people. So our security policy says that we must verify who the MAT lead is going to be, so that we can make sure that we are sharing the data with who we know we're going to be sharing it with. The SLT that then emails must share their nominated data administrator. So who they want to be their main admin, who they want to be in charge of the main administrator role. So that will be their name, their role, and their email address. And that again, because they're the main administrator, our security policy says that it must be from a MAT email address. So it must be a name and a MAT email address that is for the main administrator. The main administrator will then be able to set up other users within the system, and I'll show you that shortly. Once you've registered and logged in, you'll be presented with terms and conditions and a data sharing agreement. You should read through this really carefully and then select accept to move forward into data insights. It will auto direct you to data insights. You don't need to do anything, but on the off chance that the auto direct doesn't work, there is a link in there so you can just select the link. There are a few starter tasks for the main administrator to make sure that the system is up and running and you're able to see that single center data. And without the starter tasks being completed, you won't be able to look into single center data. So it's really important that these starter tasks get done straight away. So you'll do your terms and conditions, then center membership. So you'll check your center membership list, and then you'll review the personally identifiable information in the system and then select save and sorted. I'll show you how to do that now. So the first thing that you'll do is the center membership administration. So you'll go into something called manage user roles, and I'll show you where that is when I do the demo. So in manage user roles, you're able to go in and update your user administration, update center membership, and say where your access to personally identifiable information rights are up to date. The first thing that you need to do is to check your list of centres. So go through and have a look at every centre on that list, and you need to select the box to say, yes, they're part of our trust, yes, they're part of our trust, and then scroll down to the bottom and click save. If there are any centre details that are incorrect, you'll need to contact the DFE. The DFE will then inform AQA, so you don't need to worry about informing both of us, but you do need to contact the DFE. Don't be worried if it doesn't disappear immediately. Our records will be updated when the DFE let us know that you've changed that information. The next step, once you've updated your centres, once you've said, yes, these centres are part of our trust, is to go into access personally identifiable information. So once you've gone in there, you can see there it says, I have the right to access. So you select the box that says right to access, and then once you've selected those, you can click save. And once you've clicked save, what that'll do is it will generate the data for those centres to be within your trust, and then you'll be able to review them from a single centre perspective. You won't be able to do your personally identifiable information until you've done your centre membership administration. So do make sure that you check your list of centres first and then go into your PII. Lastly, but it's not urgent, is the user administration, and this is where you can add a new user to your system. So anybody who will just be using data insights come results time, you'll want to add them, and you can do that through this same window. So here you select add a new user, and then you can put the information of your chosen people in there. And there's also options there to select roles. So when you go in, you can select that they have view either results read, which is the normal view, or early results read, which means that they will receive a view of results from the day before results day, and that will be at 1 minute past midnight for early results read. Anybody else who has normal results read will be able to access those results from 8 a.m. on results day. Let me show you the system. So first, we do have some information on the website. It's not quite the system just yet. I'm just going to show you where our website link is. So if you go into services here on the AQA website, into services, there's data insights just here. So if we select that, you can see this takes us to data insights where you can log in and how to use and some videos and some support guides. But if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see trust level performance. And when you select find out more, this goes into a web page that supports our multi-academy trusts. There's some documentation for multi-academy trusts here and some videos on how to analyse your trust results. So walk through the system and how to register. So if you need to access this page, that's where to find it. So when you sign in, You'll pop in your sign-in details. If your account is associated to a centre and a multi-academy trust, you'll be able to see both, and you can select whether you choose the centre or whether you go into the map. We'll go into the map. Your terms and conditions and your data sharing agreement will look like this. Please accept our terms and conditions, and you can read through this information. Please do read through our terms and conditions and data sharing agreement before you select accept, and then click accept. And this will take you into the overview screen for your multi-academy trust. This will take you to the year of most recent data. As I said, I'm using a test centre, so this doesn't have an up to like a 2025 year of data. So we're going to be using 2018 and 19 today to talk you through. So you can see here, it brings you to the overview page. Now at the top here, we can navigate to Centre Services. We can click Manage User Roles. Now this is where I mentioned before for a main administrator. That won't be there for somebody who isn't a main administrator. So that's only available for main administrators. And when you select that, it will take you into the window to update your user administration, your centre membership administration, and your access to personally identifiable information. That's all there, and you can update that from here. And you can add a new user, which brings up this form, and like I mentioned, you can change those roles. So results read is for everybody, generally speaking. Early results read is for the select few that will be receiving that early. On the main page, you'll see in the top bar, we can choose our academic year here, but also is a list of your centres. These are centres because they've been agreed that they're part of my centre. I'm now able to see them. So if I want to go into single centre view, I can do that through here. So you can access your single centre view here by selecting that centre. Then you've got your qualifications across the top here in most entries order, so most entries to least entries. And then you've also got subjects, most entries to least entries. As you can see, that goes down. So we'll go with GCSE Science. So here we've got the grade distribution by entries. Oh, let me show you this one first. So as you can see here, we've got our top two and bottom two centres. If you have more centres than this, it will show you up to your top three and bottom three centres. And then it will give you an option to view all centres, and that will pop out in an additional window where you can see all of your centres in the list of grade distribution, top to bottom. So first we have this grade distribution graph, which you can see here. There are toggles all on every single graph. You can use the toggles to apply additional levels of data or take it away. Wherever you see this download button, you're able to download the information as a PDF. At the moment, that's how we are able to download these, and it's only PDF at the moment. There's also on the overview page this GCSE English and Maths grade distribution overview, because we're under GCSE qualification. You can see here, you can toggle, but you can also view by graph and table. So if you have a lot of centres within your trust, you might prefer to view this as a whole, like this graph, or you might want to prefer to view it as a table with a list going down. There's also a grades overview for all GCSE there as well. So the map view will show you the overview page where you can see all of your map data like this, but also you'll be able to see the map view of specific subjects. So if you click into detailed view, you're able to view that subject from a whole mat perspective. So we'll click into detailed view of biology. And you can see we're still part of the Demo Multi-Academy Trust here, and we've got an overview of the whole trust for GCSE Biology. What I can do here is filter by tier and pathway if I so wish, or I can just view all. compare with previous years, and show all grades. Lots of these graphs have got an additional pop-out, which will allow you to apply different levels of data analytics. So you can compare demographics, you can apply that, and you're able to see that on the graph here. And under grade distribution, you're able to select different grades to view where you can compare multiple grades. So for example, if you were to set lowest and then add another graph or middle, and then top. So then you're able to download that and it will show that file all together, all on one. So you're able to discuss the different levels of that grade distribution all in one eyesight. We've also got grade performance by year, and you can see here previous years. This will have additional years depending on how many years you've got with this subject and specification. And then mark performance by component, where you can apply to show your MAT data as well, which will show the MAT average in the blue dot. You can do that on this one as well, on the grade distribution, and that should give a quick sight of where centres have over exceeded the average and are under your MAT average. And that's the overview of GCSE biology, but what we can do is we can filter into the component, and that's still at MAT level. So we can go into component 1, so paper 1, higher tier. What you can do here is download the question paper and the mark scheme and examiner report. You can do that on all of the components. So you can download the question papers, mark schemes and examiner reports for each paper. And then here you've got an analysis of the skills and topics within this paper. So for biology, we've got assessment objectives overview, topics overview, skills overview, spec reference overview, and question type. Question type is consistent across the board. Some of the other ones do vary depending on the subject, so please do make sure you are comfortable with what you've got within your subject and that you're aware of what you'll be able to see. Question type, again, shows you at a very quick glance how your MAT has achieved on specific questions and in comparison to previous years as well. So you're able to see how you've grown since 2018, let's say, because we're looking at 2019 data. And that is an exceptional growth, but also still under the AQA average for the 6-mark question. So what do we need to put in place? Is there anything that we need to do to support the development for the 6-mark question? You can toggle all of these graphs as a table if you prefer. Now, one of the key features that you're able to now do, so that's all of the MAT whole views, but if you were to now go into single centre view, you can pick a centre from here. So let's pick 40330. And if we stick to their science biology, go into detailed view of biology here, one of the things that you can do in this view, so if you're narrowing down into a specific centre and you really want to look at some of their data, you're able to apply this toggle. This is available on all the graphs in the single centre view for a MAT to see, where you can show your MAT average over the top. Now this will keep, when you're looking at that single centre data, it will keep you focused on what your MAT average is, which is a really useful tool and something that will help this to stay in the analytics forum. And when you apply that show MAT data, it will show up as the blue dot and a blue line. When you go into single centre view, you're able to see more data than you would have been able to when you look at it from a MAT whole. And that's because you'll now be able to see student-related data, and that's because the students are attached to the centre. And the centres are then subsequently attached to the MAT. And so when you want to look into student data and student results, you have to filter down into the centre that those students are part of. So we've clicked into 40330 biology. You can see here the overview. That's the same as what we saw on the MAT screen, but now there's an additional panel here for students where you can see the list of students that have got entries for GCSE Biology Foundation. And you can see high to low, low to high, A to Z, where those students sit within the grade boundaries for GCSE Biology Foundation tier. And then the same one here for higher tier. And again, if you select show MAT data, you can see where your MAT average is as well. Another thing, you can go into component with this, where you can click into component and you're able to see more again. So where we were able to see skills and topics from a MAT level, at single centre view, you're able to see question analysis, and that's because that's the student's response, and mark analysis. So when we look at question analysis, we have this handy filter box because this is a very big graph. But we've got the question results overview, which is a heat map of how the students have performed on each question. So you can see here where they've got green, that's because they've got their max marks, and where they've got red, it's because they've got the lowest, yellow in the middle, and grey, where it's grey, but also where Matteo's got a 0. Matteo has attempted the question, but not got any marks, whereas Roxana has got a grey because she's not attempted the question. Additionally on this, you've got question results breakdown where you can see at a glance how, and again, you can apply your MAT data, you can see at a glance how your centre, your chosen centre to view, has done on their questions in comparison to the AQA average. So you can see here for 2.1, actually the centre's exceeding, which is useful. But you can also clock where they might need additional support. We've also got mark analysis, where again you can do a filter, and because that could be quite a lot of information. So let's filter by question type. So you can see here, this is the item mark difference, where the max achievable marks are in light purple and the achieved marks average is in dark purple. So you can see that there. Again, these filters apply to the whole page. You've also got the mark distribution graph just here. You can search for a subject for all centres in your MAT by using this subject search bar, but you can also search for specific centres in the same breath. So you can see here, we could choose the qualification and select go, and then you can see it brings up the record for English for this centre that we've chosen and the components. Now you can click into that and that will take you to the view for that centre for English specifically. So you can use the subject bar for that. And if you are looking for information on a specific student, you can use this bar. Again, you'll need to know which centre they're part of. And then you can select them from the list. And this will show you all of their results data, all of their exam results data for the award year that you've picked. So 2019, we've got all of the data for Ilaria. You can click into any of these components or the detailed view of Combined Science Trilogy Foundations here. You could click into detailed view, but that will view just Ilaria's responses and Ilaria's data for this subject. So it won't view anybody else, it'll just view your MAT level and centre level and Ilaria's data, not anybody else's data. You can also build student groups. Again, they have to be built within the centre. So when you build a student group, you click create new student group once you've picked your centre. So you choose your centre, create a new student group, and then you can build your student group off the back of that. It will pick out the students according to that filter, and then you can give the group a useful name, and then you can see that's updating. So that's being built there. When you're looking to apply a student group, you can do that through single center view. But if you're looking to build them and you don't have them, it's because you need to build them in here. You can also download results by creating a new report. And when you create a new report, it asks you to select the center that you're building the report for. So you'll do that here. And you can see it gives you an option to either create a new report or just close and go back. Now, if you were to create another report, you could make the same report for a different center, or however you please. But then when you go to look for the reports, you have to select the center that you need using this drop-down menu there. And you can see that's the report we've just made, and it's green, which means it's not been downloaded yet. It's available. And when you select download, that will download as a CSV file. There is an option to download individual question level marks, to include question level marks, but you have to filter down to tier and pathway. So as soon as you select tier, pathway or unit, the option to include question level marks will appear, and you can choose that there. And you can see that there includes question level marks. When I select to download this, that's going to download as a zip file. That's because it's quite large and it covers the question level marks all the way across. But it will download the question level marks for the papers that have questions in. So if there's 2 papers, then it'll download both. So you're able to access all of those within that zip file. So how will these changes affect you? You can now view exam results data at MAT level. It's a faster experience with visually supportive graphs and a wide variety of data output to keep everybody on the same page. Your main administrator will need to complete 3 checks, which is the terms and conditions and the data sharing agreement. They'll need to go in and check that centre membership list and make sure that that's up to date and that's exactly who are part of your trust. And they'll also need to go in and confirm the personally identifiable information access rights. But other than that, thank you so very much for listening today and hope you have a lovely day. Take care.